Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Today is July 14th, 2016, and I have a special guest today. I have Sarah Oxidine, and I just want to introduce Sarah today and tell about her life, her story, and how her spiritual evolution, how she's evolving. And so, take it away, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Oxidine, and it is a wonderful pleasure to speak in front of you all today. I'll let Brian ask the questions and we can move on from there.
Let's go back to when you were younger, or something that you can give us on your life, like what it was like as a young girl. Just something you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I didn't really start with a very conventional uh, upbringing. When I was young, I was born into what some people call the Hebrews, the Hebrew Israelites. We had a whole group here in Miami. So that's what I knew first, being a Hebrew Israelite, speaking Hebrew. Yes, more of the Ethiopian versions of Hebrews, just so you understand. So my first language was very nearly Hebrew and then English. So that's different to begin with. My mother converted before I was born. However, the family is Christian. So I had a bit of both realities, as you may say. And I think from the age of 0 to about 10 is where I uh, basically lived in that world, the Hebrew Israelite world. Um, we were taught many things. We had a different idea of religion and a different idea of what we call God. And I found that led me on my path to trying to understanding what is God, who is God, because on my Christian side they says Jesus, and on the on the Hebrew side it said Yahweh. So trying to be in two worlds at one time, it's really interesting. Um, but I grew up basically, as children, we grew up just being ourselves. I grew up wanting to be in nature, planting trees and, being in dirt and things of that nature. But I couldn't because the Hebrew Israelites were white. They wear white all day from the head to toe. It's all white. And I was told not to play in the dirt, not to plant the trees, because I would get my white clothes dirty. So, yeah. So, trying to find my way in these two worlds um, was difficult at times, yes. And having to be one way in one world with the rest of the family and another way in the world of the Hebrew Israelites was very separated. It can very much cause a separation in your idea of reality and your idea of who you are.
Did
So
it put a
yes,
did it put a strain on your mom and dad when you were younger?
my mom was there. My dad was there for about the time I was 7 years old, and then he was not there. So my mother had to take care of me and my brother alone. So she's a single mother with two children, working two jobs. So that's a strain on its own for a parent. But as a child, the strain became more of I did not see my mother because I was at the boarding school for the Hebrew Israelites. Yes,
And probably a very strict school.
in a very strict school. Yes. A strict environment to say the least. But I tried my best. I was the Miss Goody Two Shoes of them all. Tried to
So,
follow all the rules, you know, and the quiet one.
so just fitting in, was it easier for you to fit in at that time in school because you were just, or did you feel that you always had to be the good one? You always had to play the role as doing everything perfectly, trying to be
Playing the role, exactly, of doing everything perfectly. Playing the role, developing this mask about myself, and being quiet and only speaking when you're spoken to, and being the teacher's pet, and that sort of thing, the good person. So I played that role very well until I had to transfer to public school.
then what
That
happened?
role didn't do so well in public school. Yes. That role got me in a lot of trouble in public school. um, Being disliked because I was the way I was, because I did not allow anyone to cheat off my papers. I did not allow anyone to just speak to me any old way. I spoke to them in a very proper manner. And I was the quiet one in the back. I did not bother anyone, wanting to be good, treating everyone fairly and that sort. And being in an urban population in an urban public school, not the best choice, it seems. But I figured my way through it by 11th grade
Hmm.
and
Were you ready?
understood
Were you ready to
that you
go
needed
ask?
to speak up.
Yeah.
And state who you are and get a backbone in order for people to respect you. So I began to speak my mind.
Yes.
And that was not anything anyone was prepared for.
How about for mom? Was that an eye opener too?
I still kept my ways with my mother. I only spoke my mind to those who I didn't live with. So I still tried to be the good person, you know.
Yes.
But when something I didn't resonate with, I spoke my mind. And I think that's when you understand who you truly are, when you're able to speak who you yourself choose to be. You speak out. And I learned to speak out. But the day I learned to speak out, I also learned it's a double-edged sword. Once you speak out, you can cause a lot of hurt and damage. Because the day I spoke out was the day uh, a girl who had been bothering me for so long,
She had to hear the wrath of God, right?
she heard it and she began crying.
Oh,
And I felt that energy and emotions in my heart so much. It was like I never want to do it again. But then things kept happening where it was teaching me to speak out for myself. Don't let anybody just run over me. So I had to learn that. And I thought, it's interesting. I thought growing up, everybody had this ability to discern the emotions of others as it came in. And I'm only learning recently that not everybody has that capability.
or they choose not to
Or
accept.
they choose not to follow it. Yes, they may have it, but they just say, oh, but this would be more accepted by my peers.
Others, what
So they,
others think.
yes, exactly. So they just don't follow it. And it always dumbfounded me when they didn't follow it because I can feel it. Like in the middle of a conversation, you can have three people having a conversation and they can have three different conversations and no one's really understanding each other. They're all speaking, but they're not hearing each other. And I
express.
didn't really get a true understanding about that because I always understood where everybody else was coming from. I could see the point of view from my point of view, this person's point of view, that person's point of view, this person's point of view, and make a connection. Now, I didn't know why I had this capability. I only knew that I had it and that it seemed that others just didn't have it, right? But now that I have, some people would like to call it awoken, but I think, in some parts I've been awoken my whole life, awakened, that is.
Hmm.
Uh, I just saw things in a way to make everyone come together. I
Yes,
didn't know what to call it, but I always had this way of bringing people together.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
When as you're through the school years, what I mean, when you got up to your say junior high or high school, even high school, were you ready? Was it hard to leave the school or the public school,
Oh no.
or were you ready to get out?
Ready to go. Ready to explore. Had my bags packed, ready to go to college. I went to college or university in
Mhm.
Tallahassee, Florida, at Florida State University.
Wow.
I graduated with a bachelor's in multinational business operations. And I spent a lot of time traveling the world
Wow.
because I was more interested in finding out what the world was and who the people were in it,
Yes.
and understanding myself in the process as well, because there were no answers that were sufficient, it seemed, where I was born and raised. So I decided to look at the world and travel.
And you started probably questioning a lot more too.
I started questioning a lot more. Yes, yes. Um, I was questioning what I've been taught, whether where I was raised, my environment, or even in university. I questioned everything. I was studying one way and found out that reality that people were living was another way. And it couldn't reconcile any of that information because they just didn't mesh. Um, I also studied international relations and international affairs, and the ideas given to us about how the world worked uh, did not was not sufficient. It did not explain the way the world worked, whether it was globalism, realism, democracy, capitalism, uh, uh, communism, all of the isms that they have out there. None of it explains the way the world works. And that made me question a lot, a whole lot, because each and every type of ism you have at its beginning stage, it worked. But when you try to move it outside of its original environment and spread it and spread it and spread it, things begin to change because people have different ideas and agendas, and they implement them and they push them onto the society that they are or are supposed to be serving. You find that so far capitalism has won over amongst all the other isms. No matter where you go in this world, it's about the money and where it's being allocated towards, you see. So for me, understanding that and understanding society and understanding having my own burgeoning spirituality in the middle of it What an education. Truly, what an education, right?
Definitely.
And so I think when I left university and I began looking within myself, trying to understand the world, that's when I came to a sort of complete stop. Nothing made sense anymore of how they told me society worked, how they told me the family worked, how they told me I worked. The expectations that were put onto me didn't make any sense because there was this inside dialogue happening the entire time, saying one thing, and I've had to put out this persona, this mask of who I was expected to be. Yes. And I know I'm not the only one this has happened to. This has happened to many when they're just saying, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I needed answers quick, but I didn't get them quick. I got them in slow degrees. People put in my path.
The challenges.
The challenges that I had to keep trudging my way through because I said, I had to do this. This is what society says. They said I had to get a job. They said I had to graduate. They said I had to get the diplomas. They said I had to, you know, be successful. But the biggest lessons I've learned was when I failed.
Yes.
Those were the biggest lessons. And you don't really understand that when you first begin failing. Back to back to back. And then you ask yourself, why am I still here? But when you accept that, then you can begin to grow anew. When you accept that you have no control over the things around you, the only control you have is of yourself. You don't have control over people. You don't have control over places. You don't have control over policy. You don't have control over your government unless you decide you do. This is about regaining your power within you. But if you don't know who you are first, you can't affect anything outside of yourself. And that is the one truth that I have learned. So I kept failing. And with each failure, go within, go within, go within. Look deep within yourself. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? How would you play this role in a different way had you had a chance? Keep looking at things from different angles, you see. That was that was the best teacher myself. I became my teacher without knowing that I became my teacher. Okay? So then in the New Year's of 2013, when we were about to just transfer over into 2014,
Yes.
my own mother, she spoke to me twice. She says, Sarah, you need to look at this person called Abraham Hicks. It's a lady. I said, why would a lady be called Abraham? So she told me twice. And my mother, she is still on her own process of awakening. And I allow her process of awakening. I've accepted the way she is and how she wants to be, but she's on her own process. I had to go on mine, but she was the impetus to get me to, well, for me to get some answers. She told me to go look up Abraham Hicks twice. And then when I went to New York to visit, a homeless lady at the Starbucks mentioned it again. Now I'm in Miami. So for a homeless lady who's just randomly walking into a Starbucks in New York City to tell me, look up Abraham Hicks, that was just too huge for me to ignore.
Yes.
Right? So I said, let me look up this person. And I said, oh, because there were things being said out loud that I was hearing on the inside. And never had anyone say these things to me. And I was like, oh. And so I listened and I listened for 3 to 4 months straight, everything I could find, just listening. And she mentions in a couple of her speeches, she mentions to, and this is Esther Hicks. I give a lot of thanks to Esther Hicks. She mentions to take a walk outside every day, to look up, feel the breeze, feel the sun. No matter what the weather is outside, make sure you walk outside every day for 45 minutes. No matter the day. So I began doing that in the mornings, walking. And I kept hearing in the background, you need to meditate, you need to meditate. But I tried to meditate, the meditations, outside, sitting down, legs crossed. And I truly, truly tried. I did. I gave it a good effort. But then you would have the bee, the insect, the crawling thing,
Distraction.
all the distractions and the thoughts and the this and this, all of that. And I would try my best, but I could not focus for anything. So the walks did me better. It was a better meditational practice. And I understood after a bit of time that was my meditation. Okay. But I would put on my headphones. I would listen to my dubstep music and walk. That was the walking and dancing, because I'm a dancer. So you get the walking and dancing. All right. And then in my mind, I start seeing myself just doing strange things. Like, as you get into the metaphysical realm, people talk about energy. So I thought to myself one day, why don't I try to shoot energy out my hands? That was just a thought. So I said, okay. So I started walking and dancing, like just trying to get it in, push it out, push the energy out, like,
It's a great exercise too.
Exactly. Just walking. And then I would get to the point where I say, okay, push the energy forward, push the energy back, push it side to side. And I would get, getting it in with the music, like, boom. And, with the dubstep, with those powerful beats, dun, 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 bang. And it's like, and that was my way of teaching myself about energy. And it's unconventional, yes, but it worked.
Works.
I began to have energies coming out of my hand, energies coming all around me and flowing. I began to feel the directions of the wind and how the energy affected the wind. And it was amazing. And I enjoyed myself on these walks with my music and my headphones. And some people say, but how is that a meditation? Let me tell you, I was not in my mind, having the analytical mind, swirling, swirling, swirling the entire time. I focused on what I was doing during that time period. And because I walked, it takes me a whole hour, just 45 minutes to an hour to walk my entire neighborhood. So that's 45 minutes to an hour of meditation.
So your meditation was, it wasn't so much the thinking about it, it was more the feeling.
Yes.
Ah,
Feeling the energy that's around me. So that's something I taught myself. I had no idea this is what I was doing at the time, but hey, what works, works. All right. And so this was within the 3-4 month span of time after I found out about the Abraham Hicks information. And then as I was looking for her information on YouTube, I came upon Bashar. And I listened to Bashar for 3 weeks. I was like, every time he was like, hello, everybody, how you doing? You know, he starts in that energetic way, and I always clap at the I was like, yay! And it just excited me. And I'm like, who's this Bashar person? Some alien being out there somewhere. And, you know, that's what I was getting. But I was resonating much more to his energy. It was the energy of it all.
yes.
The feelings that came in when he said an idea or talked about a topic, the energy was visceral to me. And so that happened for a good 3 weeks before I found Miss Roxy. You know about Miss Roxy Bryan?
Yes. Yes. Beautiful, wonderful.
Yes. And after the 3rd day of listening to Miss Roxy, I was like, I called her up because her phone number was on the YouTube. I said, Miss Roxy, what is going on? So all of those were my spiritual teachers before I actually delved right in. And she connected me to the Huklo community. This is how I decided to join.
Ah, the Roxy. Nice. Yes.
Yes. Because I had seen some videos of the Huklo community, but I was like, all those people are crazy. They're talking about they're channeling aliens and spirits and stuff. They're crazy. These crazy folk. But she was like, you need to connect to the Huklo community. And I said, okay. So that was right before the summer solstice of 2014. And unbeknownst to me, it was very important that I connected to the community, because 3 days later, after I connected, was the day before the summer solstice. That day, as I was on a hangout with you all, Mr. Brian.
I remember.
Yes, my Naga showed up.
So it was on that hangout that we just.
It was on that hangout.
Wow.
Very energetically. Now, I had no idea what was going on. I never even thought about the word Kundalini before that. I had no idea. Tell him, Brian. Tell him what happened from your point of view, because I freaked out.
I remember that we were. I can't remember all who was in that room, that hangout, but we had quite a bit of people in there. I think it was at least half full or full almost.
Mm-hmm.
And we
So
were just,
basically 10 people.
yeah, and we were just practicing. Was it the languages? We were like just giving
No,
them.
not languages yet. We weren't even in languages yet. No. It was just
Uh,
a regular
okay.
conversation. We were just happy to be around each other.
Yes,
Just a regular conversation.
and it was
I was
nice.
just like,
We were talking about like anything and everything. You know?
exactly.
We were so just having fun, and there was like no judgment or anything. We just kept
Yeah,
listening and absorbing each other's conversations.
exactly.
And that's why I love too, you know, because it expanded out to other people. But man, it was like the group was just, it's there, you know, it's a cohesive, it just fit together, you know.
Yes, exactly. And 3 days with you guys. After 3 days, it's like the switch had been flipped. Yes?
Yes.
It's just go, psh, and there it goes. My Kundalini rises.
We must have been talking
I'm
about
energetically charged, and like my hands and everything's vibrating. There's literally electricity going up and down my body the whole time, and I'm like, what is
we were
going on?
talking about sexual energy, weren't we?
No, we were not. That's
Oh,
you.
okay.
That's always you.
Well, something triggered you though.
I don't know, but it was just like, what in the world? And nothing in my life had ever prepared me for that to happen. Now, I had to do a lot of research because in my dreams,
there you go.
In my dreams, I kept seeing like a jade palace. I saw a jade palace. And everybody there looked Asian. Now, I can count how many Asian people that I see every day in my community in Miami. None. So, so why I was in this jade palace with all the Asian people, and I'm like, who are these people? And dancing there as one of them, you know. And I also, about that time, had dreams of, for lack of a better word, big snakes trying to attack me.
I remember that one then. I remember that. And you were taking your walks and something about...
And the snakes started popping up in the bushes.
Yeah, you're taking your walk.
In the grass and just taking a walk, and little baby snakes, and be a big snake over here. A couple of days in a row, there were snakes popping up. And I'm like, what is going on here? Now, why am I seeing snakes after never seeing them in Miami? Okay.
I'm scared of snakes. Those little ones, I run away. Those big boa constrictors, like the pythons and stuff, I can have them wrap around me. But the little ones, they're too fast. They're too fast.
Oh my God. The little one, very fast. Yes. Crossing the sidewalk.
It's the jerking motion or something. I'd run away.
Well, I was shocked. Yes. Shocked. And between the religions I had been taught, and you know how they talk about the snake and the serpents, and that was not something I was cognitively ready for. Yes. You know, like there was a lot of soul searching I had to do in order to understand that they were a part of me. And to recognize it and to accept it because of what I had been taught. And it wasn't easy. There was a lot of things I had to break down between my heart and my head. These belief systems, these conditionings, there was a lot I had to literally break that down, and it wasn't easy. Because my first reaction to seeing a snake is to run. Not to say, oh, how cute are you? That's not the reaction of most people when they see a snake or a serpent of any sort. So I understood then that I had to, one, accept that about myself. Two, allow that to exist in my reality. Because as Esther Hicks says, as Abraham, she says, we create our reality. So if that is true, I had to allow it to be there because it was going to be there regardless of what I thought about it. So the Nagas showed up. Now, the Nagas, for those who do not know, are serpentine humanoid beings. They are within our history, mostly in the Asian cultures. in our ancient Egyptian cultures, in our Mayan cultures, and most of the very ancient pyramidal structures have a reference to the Nagas.
Yeah, I've seen like statues of them too, and like
Statues and
yeah,
temples
yes, the
and the
temple.
like. They were here and
And
they're coming back now.
they have like the humanoid body, and then toward the like their torso and on down to their feet, it's like a kind of like a serpent.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. Or the opposite way as well.
yes, yes.
Or fully serpent from head to toe as well.
I see.
Yes, I've seen all the different types
Wow.
since. But it was very interesting allowing that to exist because what we have been taught about myth, the things that are myth. This is in our ancient history, but these are mythical beings. These are myths to
Like
begin with.
legends. Yeah, yeah, the legend.
Legends and stories. Not history, but stories.
Stories, fairy tales that they take.
Fairy
Yeah,
tales.
yeah.
Yes. But because I had already been connecting with nature, because I, even on my walks, I would begin to connect to the trees, because I would begin to ask the trees. Well, one day I just stood in front of a tree and looked at it. And a thought came to me to say hello to it. Hello. Hi, tree. And that was me introducing myself to the trees. Now, we think there are only humans here on this planet that have consciousness. Not the truth. Every being you see on this planet has consciousness. They are all alive. They are all aware. They may not speak or communicate the way we do, but they still have their own version of communication. The trees are the same. So are the animals. So are the flowers. So is the grass. So is the wind. So are the clouds. Everything around you is consciousness. But that took me some time to understand that. So I had to introduce myself to the idea by first saying hello to the tree. And
I
then I began
see.
to sit.
It was like an introduction to you, like a remembrance, but it's like you're giving permission to open
Yes,
up to the nature again, like that. Yeah.
yes. Well, giving myself permission, one,
Mhm.
and basically asking the tree to connect with me, because the tree already has permission. It's us who blocks it, right? So it was me giving myself permission to communicate with the tree. Go figure, right?
Right.
Yes. So one day, because I was dealing with energy and playing with energy, one day I decided to ask the tree for energy, to share energy. This is just a thought that pops up, one of those quiet thoughts. And I followed it. And the energy that came back to me was so, and it would just flow from the tree to myself, flowing. And I had never felt anything like that before in my life. And so I began to experiment with this idea of energy. So whenever I would have a headache or something was wrong in my body, I would ask to share energy, and I would ask for communication. And so I began doing that of everything around me, the bushes. I would say hello to the animals. I say hello to the flowers. I love you. Now, here's the strangest thing. The statement, I love you, has no boundaries. It has nothing to pull back or push forward. It just is. It's a very neutral. Most people may not see it as being a very neutral energy, but it's a very neutral energy. It's balanced. So I went around to the trees and all of nature stating, I love you. And even did that to some humans as well as they walked by me on the street, which freaked them out. I love you. And they would look at me like I have 3 heads.
But the courage that you're
The courage that was being created at that time, just to say I love you to someone else. Because at the time, before that time period, I couldn't even say I love you to anyone, not even to myself. And I had to work on myself. I had to look myself in the mirror and say I love you. And it felt strange as all crazy outdoors, just strange to say I love you to myself. Now, why is that? We have hidden ourselves away from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about bringing myself back into the forefront of my awareness, because I had been putting myself back for so long and allowing others to be the forefront of my reality for all my life, and creating this persona about who I am based upon what they were expecting of me. And this is at the time I began releasing all those ideas of expectations, dropping it down, becoming more of me, becoming more of me. So after the Nagas came, who came up? It was all Brian's fault.
What? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
You can remember better than I can, so I'll let you.
Yes, it was. Brian had the genius idea in the group to start first singing "Row, row, row your boat,"
which is my favorite song,
and 2, toning together.
Oh yeah, yes.
That was you, if you remember.
A little bit. You can jar my memory. Go ahead.
So he goes, you know what we should all do? We should all sing together. Just do a tone. Like, ooh. That's Brian. Okay? And he started, ooh. And the next person started, ooh, ooh. And it felt really silly when we began. It felt stupid. Yes, we can say it. But what it also did, we began to feel the inflections of it, yes? And for some reason, when I started toning, somebody else said, Sarah, I'm feeling something when you're toning.
Oh, yes.
And I had no clue. I said, okay. They say, do it again. I said, ooh. And it was like, wow, do it again. And then there was one hangout where a new person showed up. And Huklo community is a group of people who come together, and some of them are channelers. Now, this young man showed up for the first time into the group. And as soon as I did a tone, he got knocked into channeling. You remember that? I'm trying not to say his name. It starts with a J.
An old member?
Justin.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Now I remember. Yes, yes.
Yes. He got knocked into channeling mode. He began channeling a being.
That's right. I remember now. Yes.
Now, when that happened, at that time, I just got the feeling to tone for him. Just a feeling. And then I asked him, I said, can I tone for you? And I just did one simple note. I said, and that was the beginning of that.
Wow.
And then the being asked me, a little higher, please. And so I did a higher note. And I said, without truly understanding what I was doing.
Did you feel like it was certain beings, or like I've heard the Hathors? The Hathors
Yes.
do that. The toning.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the funniest part of this. You see, I knew of the Hathors because Roxy channeled the Hathors on one of her weekly videos that she puts up on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I saw that, I became very happy. Very happy.
It's like
Like so
confirmation.
happy that on my walks, I would begin chanting, Hathors, Hathors, and I didn't know why. I was so excited about it. And this is why or how this started to come into my awareness. And their tonings, also there was Tom Kenyon who channeled Hathors, and he does tonings. Not exactly the way I do, because I was attracted to anything Hathor at that time, and I had to listen to his stuff. And he has a number of YouTube videos as well. So I would listen to his Hathor toning, and then mine just came online. It just happened.
Yes, yours is unique. I mean, it's just powerful how you can slow down the pitch and then speed it up again, and
Mm-hmm.
just you feel the vibration. I mean, even the first couple times that we were doing that, the toning back, a couple years ago, I could feel it from you. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
I could feel that, like there's something there.
Yeah. And all because of you. You did it.
I'll take a little credit, but it's
Yeah, I,
mostly
I give you the gratitude for
thank
that.
you, thank you, and the courage that you stepped forward and you said, "All right,
You
it
just
still
start.
sounds silly, but I'm going to try it anyway."
Yes. And so I, as I was practicing this with different people, I would give free sessions, and we would, they would tell me what's going on, and I would help to counsel them. And then at the end, I would ask them, could I tone for them? And when allowed, I would tone for them. And this is how I developed my awareness of the different sounds and the notes and the frequencies.
Ah, I see.
So without understanding why I had this capability, I just practiced it. Come to find out, it's because in one of my incarnations, I was a high priestess of the Hathors. Thank you very much. Yes. Uh,
Wow. That's
but that came later. That awareness came later because I had nothing to call it. I didn't know what to call it.
right.
Right. So it was a matter of trial and error. Right. So I learned the lower tones. The lower tones go towards your root chakra and the energies of your legs and your feet. The higher tones go towards your crown chakra. The middle tones in the middle. So you have a low tone. You could do. Now, I wasn't trained in musical. I'm not a, I don't have a musical background outside of dancing.
Mhm.
This is what I've learned by using the tones that I have. That's just to say. Now, this is what I would call a step up for your sacral chakra. Ooh. Solar plexus. Ooh. Heart. Ooh. Throat. Ooh. Third eye. Crown.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yes. So I'm able to allow the pitch within the frequency of the healing that is necessary. I'm now hearing a feedback, possibly because of my toning. But when you're dealing with sound, you find out everything is frequency, vibration, and light. We are all humans, trees, flowers, animals, everything you see with your eyes. Everything has a vibrational frequency attached to it. Sound, light, color. Every frequency has a color, every frequency has a light. Every vibration connects to everything around you. So your face has a vibration, your eyes has a vibration, your hat has a vibration, your dresser has a vibration. The light within your room has a vibration. And you can connect to any frequency with vibrational tone.
Ah, I see.
Okay, so this is how you can heal with the vibrations and tones and frequencies. I have an intent in my mind when I tone. And that tone, the frequency for the health of that tone comes out. And this is how I do tonal healing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing just to watch your evolution of that, like all these hangouts that you've been on. And you've been on
Yes.
countless, numerous hangouts where it's nice because you get the feedback, the confirmation of how people are feeling in their
Yes.
bodies. When you
Exactly. And because I'm able to connect to the frequencies of the sounds, any sounds, basically a regular conversation that someone is having with me,
yes,
I'm able to connect to the root of the sound itself. And that way I am able to counsel people
yes,
to the best of my ability to help them to get to the root of any issues they may be dealing with in that moment of time. So this is how I help people help themselves to figure out the roots of any situation, the root cause of any situation.
yeah, that makes more sense. It's like when people do the tones with you, even
Mm.
even even if you're not around, they there's something like the blockages in the body. It helps free them.
Yes.
It really those tones really help activate and free those blockages within the body. If it's cellular or whatever, you can see people become lighter. You see their
Yes.
expression; they start to smile more. You know.
Yes. I've heard many comments and statements about the tones. One person says it feels like a galactic massage. Because they can feel all the cells in their bodies like jumping up and doing all these things, and then they see like the visions that come up with people. I mean, Brian, you can tell your own experience. What happens with you?
Yeah, it's when we're doing the tonings, you start to see flashes of things and images too. Even when you close your eyes, there's just these things that come to you. Even when I've had sessions like with you, just we've done this in Hangouts, but it's like you can see when you're doing these tonings with you, and we're trying to match your frequencies too. You know what I mean? Like your toning, it's like it's an upliftment. It's so much joy that comes from it because you go deep within the person. The person goes deep within themselves. It's not, yeah, you're hearing it from the outside, but it's vibrating inside the body. And there's a triggering effect. There's a mechanism within the DNA that says, we could hear it. They activate something, or they help relieve any type of the pain sometimes that a person may go through, the mental, the emotional,
The physical as
physical
well.
as well. Yeah, real good.
Because most pain comes from the emotional and the mental.
Yes, energetic. Yep.
That's where it is begun.
Begins and then comes down into the physical. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So when you're able to get to the root cause or the root frequency of what's causing an issue, then you're able to release it as well. Because once something is known, it no longer needs to be there. When it comes to frequency and vibration, once an emotional situation is known for the person, they have dealt with it at that moment in time, and they're able to release at that moment in time. It's no longer an issue after that. So yeah, so that's the Hathors.
So that was in 2014.
2014,
Taking
yes.
your walks, and the Nagas came to you, right? Through the
Yes. The Nagas came first,
yes.
then the Hathors.
I see.
Yes.
And I remember you were telling me some of your dreams too got real vivid.
Yes, they get very vivid. Then the aliens came. Now that is impressive.
Yes.
Now, before all of this, if you were to tell me any of this was real, I probably would have looked at you and walked the other way.
Yes.
But because it was happening to me, through me, it was a different story. And so it just became, oh, this must be real because I'm seeing it and I'm experiencing it.
Yes.
And so there was no way for me to deny that aliens exist at that point. So I'm coming out. Yes, I do believe in aliens. 2, yes, I have interactions with them. Yes. So do I have interactions with Earth species, different species of the planet. There's not just a human kingdom, there are other kingdoms.
I like how you do that. You branch off. You show, you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and it's like as you accept that which we're a part of, it's like nothing else really matters. You almost start to become fearless.
Yes, well, yeah, but that takes time.
Yes.
Because there's so many hooks within you from society and expectations and your expectations of yourself in comparison to others and others' expectations of you. And it becomes this whole energy that you are not, but yet you're living that energy.
Yes, it's almost like we keep ourselves contained. Like we don't want it
Yes.
really big. We don't want to
In
show
that
it.
box, that
Yes.
shell.
So
And when you're
with the
ready to
comfort,
step out that shell, my
yeah,
God, the things you will find out. So it's very liberating as well, because I allowed that box of myself to be released. And every day I work with it. I'm not perfect. Every day I work with that idea of the box. So now it's as if I'm experiencing more sitting down than going outside of myself to find something to entertain me.
yes, it's almost like it's good to have the feedback though, but it's like
Yes,
we don't have to have people's validation when we really feel it
exactly.
ourselves. And I
Exactly.
know we feel the validation sometimes, and it does feel good. We sometimes we need the encouragement just to hear that,
Yes.
that you're doing great, Brian. You're on that path, or Sarah. And that's the thing, we feel that, and
Yes.
that might just need the spark that we need just to push ourselves over the edge.
Yes, that's why this group was really important to me, because this group gave me the feedback that I needed to understand I'm not really going crazy.
Yes, when you hear the voices too. Yeah, we're not.
Yes, when you start to allow communication with beings outside of humans, many other species, whether they're trees and flowers and animals and aliens and whatever you want to call it, angels, ancestors, they're all speaking to you telepathically. So it is nothing you're going to find outside yourself, but you have to be strong enough to accept it as part of you and listen. Listen to that frequency that's within you telling you which way to go or which direction that you will have much more fun in. Because had I not listened, I would not be here. It doesn't come loudly, it comes very quietly in a very
Subtle.
subtle vibration. Just, I used to tell myself it's like a vibration that is so thin, thinner than silk. And if you're able to listen to that thinner than silk vibration, you're going to find out who you truly are. Okay? So, understanding everything's about vibration, tonality, uh, light and color, you connect to much more of yourself. You connect to other aspects of yourself. You just see how everything, all these different aspects of you, even you, Brian, you're an aspect of me because you're able to be a reflection of me. Everything is one, not separated at all. Everything is one. Everything is here for you and your reality. You are your reality. And everybody who chooses to be a part of it is part of you. And everything, even this couch, is part of me. And I learned that a very scary way when I came to understand one day everything is one. I began melding into the bed that I was sleeping on. And that freaked me out. Okay. So it doesn't freak me out now because I understand. But I mean, I've heard some of my friends that they began melting into walls. And we're coming to that point where we're understanding we are everything around us. We just are. Nothing's outside of you. Everything is here, right where you are, right within your skin. Everything is there. The whole universe, the galaxy is within you. Why do you think our eyes look so much like a galaxy within themselves? The galaxy is within you.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's like we're made of particles of the universe.
Particles of stars.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are stardust,
yeah.
right?
Mhm. Just like we're just condensed into a form. That's all.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and I discover more and more about myself every day, like the galactic languages. And I find with the ability to connect to frequency, I'm able to connect to different languages from different places all around the galaxies. I'm able to connect to frequencies of people across the other side of the planet. I'm able to connect to so many things because everything is frequency and vibration. Everything.
Yes.
And I can match the tone of it. No, 5 years ago, had you told me I would be what I am today, I would tell you you are crazier than crazy. All right?
I remember you saying that too a couple years ago. You're like,
I would, y'all are crazy. Y'all are insane. But it's the insane, being willing to go beyond that boundary of who you thought you were.
beyond the
When
mind. The
beyond the mind, beyond the conditions, beyond the container of what you've created for yourself as yourself. When you're willing to step out, that's when you find who you truly are. And I'm still discovering that today.
Same here.
And it's as simple as that. So now I discovered crystals. I communicate with crystals.
So when
Crystal energy is so nice.
was it about a about a year and a half ago you started really playing around with the crystals?
Mm,
Or more recently?
possibly a year,
Mhm.
but that was after I found my coral. You know, I show everybody my coral,
Yes.
and I found it on the beach itself, not in the water, literally on the beach
Wow.
in the dark. And that energy just called to me by itself. And I had no idea. So now I connect with crystals and crystal energy, and I love them as part of me.
Yes.
And what else? Now I do Reiki as well. I'm a Reiki master healer.
Congratulations.
Yes. Come to find out, it only enhances the energy work that I, learned on my own.
Yes, yes.
Um, so Reiki Master Healer, Aquarian Fire Master Healer, Holy Fire Master Healer, like all this Reiki stuff. So I like to call myself a healer. That's what I am. I'm a healer, whether it's through vibrations, whether it's through dance, song, speaking.
Yes.
I'm a healer. That's who I am. And I'm more than that. I'm many other things, but I feel the word healer encompasses so much. So
Wow.
I'm a teacher as well. And teachers can also be healers, right?
Talk about a little bit about your dance background. What is it about dance that you really enjoy?
Well, dance. I think I came out the womb dancing. I literally came out dancing.
Because I've
And
seen your
even,
dancing. You dance very, very well.
oh, thank you. Um, well, having a single mom with two kids she has to take care of, uh, I basically taught myself to dance.
Nice.
And I would dance in my living room. I would dance wherever I could dance. And the first real lesson I ever had was in university when I joined the jazz class, jazz 2, because I was I said to myself, I'm too good for just one. And the first day the teacher looks at me, are you sure you belong in this class? Because everyone there had had years of training. Training. And I said, yes, I belong in this class. And at the end of the class, at the end of the semester, she told me, you are a great dancer. And I told her, I said, thank you for saying so, because I know I'm a great dancer, because dance is in my blood. I would literally just be riding in the car and creating choreography in my head of dance music to songs that I had just listened to.
Yes.
Songs that, regular songs that play on the radio, I would create a whole choreography to it when I was younger. So I'm a dancer. And the last maybe 12, 13 years, I trained in belly dance. That's the only training I ever had, was belly dance.
Now, I was fortunate enough to see that video too. Now, is that still up on YouTube?
It's still up on YouTube,
Let people
not
know
under
about
my
that.
name, and we're going to keep it that way.
Oh,
Because the video you're talking about,
yeah.
basically, I had no idea of the song and no idea of the rhythm. And I was like, shoot, I'm just going to do it
You did that dance by ear, like just,
by ear.
wow. That's really impressive.
So no, I would not be pasting it anywhere, but it is
But
up on YouTube.
you can give me that link. I'll post it.
No.
I'm- but,
But that was my
for
first
those,
performance,
yes,
belly dancing on stage with a band. That was my very first one. So I just improvised. That's what I did. But I'm a dancer. That was my first passion. Yes.
was belly dancing one of the dances that you knew that you would excel at? Be really good at?
Oh, yes, of course. I saw one, it was Aaliyah.
Yes.
You know Aaliyah, the singer?
Mhm.
When she did the Maya in
Oh,
her
yeah,
music
yeah.
video. And I said, what is that? And I loved it, and I had to research. And then there was Shakira. I said, oh my God, I
Yes.
gotta go to a belly dance class. And I loved it ever since then. And I paid for my classes, and they're quite expensive, the belly dance classes. But I paid for it, and I learned it. That's the only one I ever was trained to do. So I do it very well. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so I think at some point in my life, I'll be on stage dancing and toning and singing at the same time.
That would
At
be
some
cool to see.
point,
Yeah. The
it's going
movement,
to happen. Yes,
the movement of your
because
body with the toning is just, yeah.
mhm,
It's like you're bringing them all together, all the aspects.
exactly,
Wow.
all the aspects of me when on stage. I love it. So
Yes.
I'll be doing that at some point.
That's cool.
Now I'm more concerned with spreading love, and uh, I'm a light worker, but
Yes.
I'm a light worker who understands the light and the dark, understands that both have a role to play within each and every one of us.
Yes.
And having that balance in between is where we truly become ourselves. So, yes. So I have my Quantum Galactic Society group on Facebook and YouTube and Google Plus, and I post things that will help to move humanity forward. Whether it's governmental talks about aliens and science and um, technology and spirituality and the things that are moving forward in politics. I post all that there, and my Crystal Healers of Gaia. You can also find on Facebook, YouTube, and Google Plus. I post things of nature. animals, trees, water, plants, uh, people helping people, people doing these miraculous things that nobody else thought they would ever do, people coming together, working together as a community.
Yes.
That's this is what I wish to propagate out into my world,
Yes.
my reality.
And how people can get a hold of you. If you want, I can post the links after this.
Yes, please do. They
People
can get
can
a hold of me at on my website, S Oxidine, so Oxidine .wix wix.com/healer. It'll be below in the description. Also, you may get in contact with me through Facebook. The name that will come up is Naga Pleiad. But you can find me at Quantum Galactic Society, Crystal Healers of Gaia, uh, Music, Art, and Dance of the Heart, and the Business of Spirituality.
And you
So
offer like sessions with people,
I
one-on-one.
offer sessions, one-on-one, groups, corporate events, um, counseling,
Is it
healing,
the activations? Yes.
activations, angel card readings, crystal healings, uh, water. Oh, that's another thing. I also do healing work with the planet. Last year, I was fortunate enough, and thank you everyone who helped and donated to get me to Ireland, so that I would be there. Not last year, was it? Yes, it was last
It was
year.
last year, yeah.
It was last year, during the blood moon time period.
Was it October last year?
It was September 28th.
Okay.
I had to be there for the blood moon. One of my roles here on Earth is to bring in new frequencies of the planet as it is transitioning from third dimension to the fifth dimensional frequency. And so I was asked by my spirit guides to go to Ireland to do that. There were other people called to different places around the planet to do the same. But apparently, I needed to be at what used to be the womb of the planet, the womb of Gaia. Ireland used to be that womb when all the continents were together. It was the very center of the planet until it broke apart. Most people do not know this, but that's what it is and was.
I remember too reading about the legends too and the myths, but it's like it was like was Ireland, was that the place of like the Druids?
The Druids, the Celts.
Yes,
Yes.
and the
And the Druids had a lot of connections with the Nagas as well.
and they're very connected to nature. I remember
Very
that.
connected with nature, exactly.
And the connections with Stonehenge and the others,
Yes.
the monuments
I went to
around all of
Stonehenge as
Ireland.
well during that visit. So from Ireland, the Irish Channel to the, well, some people call it the English Channel as well. I toned to the waters in Ireland. I went to Sweden. So I believe that's the Baltic area. So I toned to the waters there. I toned to the waters to the Rhine River in Prague, in that area. I toned to the waters over in the Netherlands. So I basically did a full circle of toning to the waters
Wow.
in Northern Europe to help the planet rise in frequencies in that area. I am being called to go to other places around the earth to help to raise the frequencies, to bring in the new tones and the new vibrations of the planet.
I've heard of that too. It's like from other channelers. It's like your just you being in that area raises the vibration, because when you walk and you, that love, that energy that comes off of you really affects the environment.
Yes. So it's I'm being called to go to the different pyramidal structures that used to be the old equatorial line. It, instead of here, we have it here, an elliptical. It's the old equatorial line where they built the pyramids. I'm being called to go to those different points on the planet to tone, to bring in the frequencies and the information, uh, that to bring it back to humanity, because we're awakening, we're coming back into the reality that all these things we call the myths are actually real.
Yes.
And that information is coming back out now.
I know. I could feel it too, about especially with the toning
Yes.
and the languages and stuff. But it's like that toning. It's like what the Egyptians and the Atlanteans and the
Mm-hmm.
ancients used to do. They used to do this
Yes,
on a daily basis with working with
exactly.
the crystals and the crystal cities of Lemuria.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's all there. Yeah.
Yes. So that information is coming to me through dreams, through the this, you know, that thread of silence sometimes, and even some of them are out loud now that I am accepting of
Yes.
these energies and informations. So I get this awareness, and it happens whenever it can happen. But if you would like to donate to my Sarah's Ancient Sites tour, you can go to the GoFundMe.com/Ancient Sites Tour, and you'll find that information if you wish to donate. Um, yes. So that's me. That's not all of me. I'm still discovering more of me. So yeah.
Right now, where you're at, what do you think is there just one thing that you've really learned about yourself, or there's just so much more? You know what I mean?
There's just so much more. There's not one thing.
Yes.
I couldn't imagine this 5 years ago,
Yes.
2 years ago. Well, 2 years ago, this is when it started. So 3 years ago, I couldn't imagine it. 3 years ago. Uh, but I'm loving it. I'm loving all the places I get to travel to.
Yes.
I'm loving all the people I am meeting.
Yes.
I am loving just to toning for someone else, because as that energy flows to them, it comes right back to me.
And
That's
it,
how energy flows. It never stops.
yes, it's almost like when you go into like a building full of people and you're just doing your toning, or outside in nature and you have a group of
Hmm.
people around you, they feel it, and it's almost like a triggering. It
Yes,
reminds them, it helps the remembrance of that they're a part of that somehow. They mentioned
exactly.
before that they've
Yeah.
been through this in other past lifetimes too.
Yes.
There was something there, that connection, that bond that we have with Gaia, with the planet, through the crystalline grid. There's
Yes.
something. There's a connection there.
Of course. Of course. I just channeled the bees the other day in Arkansas. That
Wow.
was quite interesting. But they are connected to the crystalline grid surrounding the earth as well. And I'm a part of that.
Wow.
So there's just, I'm discovering more and more and more as I go along. And all the while I'm just following my joy, you know? Oh, this looks fun. Let's go do that. Oh, look at that. Let's go do that. So I love having a great time with the things I'm discovering. Um, it's they connecting back to the past, what we would consider the past, because we now know they're all happening at the same time. They're all parallel realities that are happening now. So I'm connecting back to my Atlantean, my Lemurian self, speaking the languages now, connecting to my alien counterparts, speaking their languages now, connecting, you know, just last week, I spoke the language of the dragonfly, and it sat there and listened to me. And he was just so happy. And he came and landed on my shoulder. Like, it's once you allow it,
Yes.
it keeps coming. If
Yes.
you're ready for it, just be.
And let people know it's a life-changing event. Once they start to accept it and flow, they don't go back to the same person
You
again.
don't go back. You
No,
don't want to go back
no.
because going back would be that container. And you're so much more now.
Yes.
It's awesome, you
Yes.
know?
It really
So
is.
I love it. I love it. Discovering new things every day about myself.
What
And
would
I
you
just
recommend to that person who's really searching on really trying to find themselves? What does it take, or what is it? What are the? Where should they begin, or is there a right or wrong way of doing things?
there's no right or wrong way. I begin with a walk, just
That's
walking.
that's simple.
Just that simple. There's no right or wrong way. You can begin jogging. You can begin petting animals. You can begin sweeping the floor. You can begin washing the dishes. Like wherever you wish to begin, begin. Just begin. It
That
does
one,
not matter.
that one foot in front of the other. Yeah.
Exactly. Just take it one day at a time, one step at a time.
Yes.
It seems a lot, but it only becomes a lot after it accrues over time. But it's when you take it one step at a time, it is very easy. Very easy. So just be yourself. Allow yourself to be yourself. Just remain in your energy, in your frequency, in your vibration.
Would you what would you recommend to people to brighten someone's day? What the simple things that they can do to make the day?
Smile. When you smile at another, this is what happened with the energy. One, when you smile, energy pours over you in happiness and gratefulness. You stand in your truth within the smile. When you show it to another, when you share it with another, you allow them to, whether or not they wish to, smile back. And the same thing happens for them. This is a sharing of a vibrational frequency, you see. This is how we're constantly sharing with each other. When we hold back, we block energy. We block it for ourselves, and therefore we're blocking it for another. This is what causes the separation. But when we wish to share the energy with another, we allow the energy to flow, to allow the vortex to flow instead of becoming stagnant. This is how we are. This is our true selves, to share energy with one another. This is why we are all here on this planet together, to share energy with one another, to share frequency and vibration. This is how I see it.
It's really good.
So, a very easy way of doing that is just a smile. That may be the best energy that person has received all day. When you allow yourself to share that energy, to give that energy to another, that's very healing. Even if you can't say any words, more than enough is being said and given in that moment in time. It can change someone's day.
Yeah, I've noticed that in my own life. Like even at the grocery store, or supermarket, just wherever I've gone, And it's the weirdest thing because sometimes I don't even expect it, and someone will just smile at me, and I'm like, sometimes long before I get my mind in thinking, why are they that person smiling at me? Like, am I looking a certain way? Do I have something on my mouth? Just something. But it took me some time to realize that just by that smile, that energy that they were giving off, it
Hmm.
it kind of caused me to smile. Start to feel good,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
It brightened my day.
Yes. And that is so simple. So simple. You can do many other things like touch a tree, connect with nature,
Yes, yeah,
appreciate the birds flying in the air, feel the sun on your face, feel the breeze, say a nice thing to a person. I like your shoes.
yes. It's that you said the self appreciation. That
Yes.
appreciation. It's like it draws the energy toward you
Yes, it does.
because
It
you're.
draws good energy towards you because you've given it out already.
Yes, I realize it's like that. Like attracts.
Yes. Yes. So it's very simple and not very complicated. We think everything has to be complicated. No. The simplest things in life are what gives the most joy. Very simple things.
Yeah, I see it as you're right. It's like when we just allow more into our life without trying to block everything, but
Mm-hmm.
to give appreciation for what we do have and the contentment in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's more that the universe gives back. It's not like we were so used to conditioned to putting up our shield or
Mm-hmm.
our comfort zones we think we have to protect ourselves all the time from
Yeah.
everything around us. And
Yes.
I'm realizing more and more, being in these groups, these hangouts, that we don't have to protect anything. It's not, I
No.
mean, we don't have to put up our shields all the time. It's like we're only allowing ourselves to feel that we're being attacked because, you know what I mean? But we don't have to feel that way.
No, we don't.
It,
It's
it's,
a choice.
yes, it comes down to a choice.
It's a
That
choice.
it's that simple. It's like it comes down to choice on what our preference is, what we prefer, and not realizing or appreciating ourselves. You're right. It comes back to ourselves. It's like if I don't appreciate myself, how can I truly appreciate another?
And you can't.
And then we can't. It's like we get too up here in the mind too much,
Exactly.
and it becomes a mind game. Oh, what did
Well,
she
the
say?
mind's
What did he say
role
over there? It's
is to
like,
analyze.
yeah, we analyze, we over analyze.
Yes. And there's no stopping it until you go down into your heart.
The heart is the,
Now,
yeah.
right now is the awakening of the heart.
Ah,
We have given the mind so much power within us. And the mind's job is to analyze, and there's nowhere to go. It just keeps turning circles and circles and circles. And
right.
until you bring that energy down into the heart, that's when it becomes balanced. The mind and the heart's job is to work together, not over the other, to work together in balance. This is what we're coming back towards, our true balance.
Yes.
So when you understand that and you have something that's rolling around in your head, you can ask to ground that energy. And grounding takes it from your head down to your heart into the earth and backs up and allows the energy to flow at that moment. When everything's in the head, it's only in one space. It has no room, it has no space to go. It just turns and turns and turns. But if you allow it to ground within the heart, feel it. Is this something I should be worried about? Is this something that can be let go?
Right. And probably 9 times out of 10, we're carrying
It is.
other people's baggage or the drama. We're putting it on ourselves, or we're
Exactly.
feeling the world's, the collective so much that we're not realizing that, we don't have to carry all that. It's just
Yes.
us we need to work on ourselves.
Just releasing it, just
Yeah, yeah.
releasing all of that head energy, just letting it ground, bring it back, let it flow down and up, let it flow. I can literally see the energy flowing up and down when it comes to my body and when it comes to others' bodies that I'm healing.
Yes.
I can literally see when the energy is swirling or when it's coming outward in a toroidal field or when it's going the opposite direction. And each one means something different. I won't go into that now, but we're doing this every day, this stagnant motion, wherever it is. And we have to learn how to release that energy back into the earth and release it up into the air and let it just flow in and out, flowing. And there are many directions the energy can take.
When people
Yes.
carry a lot of the guilt and shame, especially guilt and shame, that sometimes that we're raised, um, sometimes in a religious background, or we're raised a certain way to feel like we're not good enough, and
Mm-hmm.
we carry so much this weight of the world upon us. We feel that we have to sometimes. So I guess my question is, when we're feeling that, is it? Do you feel sometimes it's hard for us to let go because of what other people think? Like, I would be afraid to let go of that because what would my mom think or what my friends down the street would think if I became this, if I decided to get out of my mind and into a bigger expansion of who I am? Would it
It
scare
begins
them?
that way.
Would it scare them? Yeah, yeah.
That's the way it begins.
Mhm.
That's how it starts. But this is what I've learned. I learned that it continues because of us holding on to that. The more we hold on to a thought and an anxiety, a situation, the more we block our hearts.
Mhm.
We're more into our brains. And this is where the imbalance comes because we have closed off our hearts. And when we decide to release that, it does take time. Well, time for different people may be relative, yes,
Right.
because one person may be able to release that energy in a burst, in a second, and it may take another person years. But when we understand that we have closed our hearts down, sometimes the best idea is not to release in a burst because that will cause so much to go on in your reality. It's ridiculous. It's like taking a bulldozer through it, you know?
Yeah.
So we often release it in piecemeal, letting this idea go one at a time when we're ready, one at a time. And each time we open a different portion of our hearts, just allowing it to flow, allowing the energy within our hearts to flow a little better and a little better and a little better until it's able to flow within our whole selves, within our whole bodies. But
Yes.
until we release all of that that has accumulated over the years, we can never become our true selves. So it's about taking small little hooks and expectations and releasing them all. Just drop them as you go because they were never yours. Those are ideas that swirled around and created a monster.
It's just the things that we accepted or bought into.
Exactly. You bought them, you bought into it, you were conditioned into thinking about it, or you conditioned yourself to think about it
Yes.
or to feel that way. So when you peel the layers off of your heart, you begin to find your true balance. And then you can balance the heart and the mind. And that's where the healing comes from.
Oh, I see. Really good.
You see? And at first, you're going to feel a little blurb of energy, poof, poof, regular energy coming from your heart. And then you can feel it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it can flow
Right.
easily, right?
Mhm.
So that's what it takes.
Ah.
No one said it was easy, but it can be done.
And it seems like we're never too old,
No, we're not.
because we could be 80, 90 years old and still release a lot of stuff.
Exactly. That is true. And being real with ourselves, allowing ourselves to be ourselves, whether it's messy, whether it's straight, whether it's cricket, whether allowing ourselves to be ourselves, because no one ever walks a straight line,
Right.
ever. They're in vibrational frequencies. A straight line would be dead, correct?
Yes, the flat
So
line.
you're always
Like
bouncing that line.
in the hospital, the flat line. Ding.
Exactly. Ding!
So it's like
That
a
would be
roller coaster.
dead.
The
So
heartbeat.
you're in a roller coaster the entire time. Your vibration is going up and down the entire time.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a really good. That's really good. Yes.
So that's what I would like people to understand and feel that. Feel the words, feel the vibration of the words, see the imagery that came along with it, and discover your truth. You don't have to listen to me, but listen to yourself. See if you resonate with it. Everything's about resonation and whether or not you listen to what you're resonating with. Yes?
So would it also be important to allow oneself to really stay more in the present,
Yes.
not so much expectation or like put, really thinking so much in the mind about the future, because the future is
Yes.
not there yet. You know, we're not there yet.
The future or the past.
The
Drop
past,
it.
or a remembrance of the past, because it
It
seems like we
it
hold
is
on
not
to.
now.
Right, but it's almost like our choices are so much more in the present, not so much in the past or the future, you know?
Well, when they're in the past, in the present, you're living in the now. When they're in the past or the future, you have a conundrum because you're in the present at the moment. That's where you get ideas and emotional imbalances because you're thinking, oh my God, this happened in the past and it's still happening to me. Or my God, this is happening in the future. So you base your ideas right now based upon what may happen in the future, which may or
So,
may not be true.
I see. So you're kind of setting yourself up for expectations of the future.
Exactly. So you have both sides of expectations. This is why I say even the expectations of yourself. If you're willing and able to drop it,
Yes,
you will become so much more.
yes. Because you're in the moment. This is where you
Yes,
make the
in the
choice.
moment, in the now, the choices you're making right now for yourself, whether you're going to be happy, sad, grateful, ungrateful,
Always our choice.
wear this clothing, wear that, be happy, be sad. That's
Don't
always a
worry.
choice.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Exactly. Those are all choices. Whether I'm going to walk or run, whether I'm going to stay in the house, those are all choices.
Yes.
What's going to give you the most pleasure, the most excitement for yourself? Even if that's sitting down,
Relaxing.
Relaxing.
Yes.
Does that give you excitement? Yes. Sit down, relax, enjoy yourself,
Yes.
and
Pamper.
do it big.
Yes. And that's the thing. Sometimes I think we feel too as human beings is like we don't give ourselves enough credit, or pamper ourselves enough, or be kind more to ourselves.
You can be
It's like
kind
we're
to
always
yourself.
harder. Yeah, we're always hard on ourselves.
Yes.
Uh,
And we're our worst critics.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we definitely are. But when you allow that criticism that's happening within your head, and you balance that with the information that comes from your heart, because your heart also has a mind. Scientists have figured this out. There's a heart mind.
Yes.
So when you take that criticism that's here and you bring that information into your heart mind, your heart mind will tell you the truth about that information. And so you have a choice at that point to follow that information that your heart mind has given to you. And
Yes.
so you can balance it.
Yes.
You can tell your brain, well, that's a choice, but I feel like choosing this one.
Yes.
I'd like to go with this choice.
It almost seems like the mind's there also to protect oneself.
Yes,
Survival mode. It's like it's there to help with the survival, but yet the
exactly.
heart there to more of the allowance. So you're right. It's about that balance. Finding
It's
that
about the
balance.
balance because the mind has learned how to survive these last, what, 5,000 years and
Yeah.
more and more and more eons.
Mm-hmm.
It has learned that survival mode. Now we're getting back into the
Feeling.
heart, the
Yeah.
feeling, the consciousness, the all of these thoughts and feelings that are arising right now for the whole human collective. We're getting into it. We're delving deep into it and we're not going back.
Right. Right.
Okay? So balancing that within yourself not only allows you to do it for yourself, it allows that energy to flow with the others around you.
Yes.
Because if you're standing within your truth, and that is the vibrational frequency that you have, you also allow the others around you to see it,
And feel it.
feel it, and make a choice for themselves as well
Right. Right. I see
to
that now.
stand within their truth or not.
Yes.
This is why they say you cannot, people say, I want to help others. I want to help others. You cannot help others until you help yourself
Right.
because the others will see right through that vibrational frequency
Mm-hmm.
and they will know it to be the truth or a lie. And vibrations do not lie. They always tell the truth. This is why people talk about vibes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You
Oh,
go
I
into a
have the
room.
vibe that doesn't feel right, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. You go into a room, especially like in school. You walk into the classroom and you get that certain vibe.
A vibe.
Yeah.
Wow. Vibrations never lie.
Yes.
It tells you the truth every single time. So follow the vibration. Make your choice. Make your stand where you wish to go.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's good stuff. Wow. Really good stuff, Sarah.
very good. I'm happy.
Yes. This is a lot of good information. Very nice.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're sure welcome. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we go? Before we wrap this up?
Let's see. Can I give a blessing
Yes, please.
in a galactic language?
Yes.
Sianiha Kialutua. Akisulukuta isinikiasa. Malakia mushuluhutu. Hakaisiataya. Akaniahasiana. Ishi ahatia. Kalalhani kutuata. Hakina ushuluwana. Kinakia hush atia sana. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
And I also would like to add, for those who feel inclined, for those who would like who would feel they would benefit from something that Sarah is sharing, please have a session. Please donate to Sarah, because it will help give back to her what she's giving a service to giving to you. It's an exchange of energy. So definitely, thank you, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Much love to you.
Much love. Well, that wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Sarah. This has been a very uplifting, very enlightened, a very peaceful conversation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.